lives, and more lives. This has been building. I knew it was coming. I kept my mouth shut. I'm the one Canadian who actually knew how the CPP runs. I knew it entirely, including the corporate slush fund that many corporations overpay into, called CPP, to the great expense of all Canadians. All Canadians, yes, including Albertans. But that goes to you, the Canadian people. It's a private plan. Employers were never wiser to it. Who was wiser to it, like myself, is any economist who could analyze the financials for what they are. People who understood the overpayment system and understood that Canadian workers got their CPP overpayments back, not the companies. And Danielle Smith, in her ignorance, her stupidity, and I have to tell everybody that this is major breaking news. It's so breaking, in fact, Ontario alone, federally and provincially united, 2 finance ministers who have the privy of everything. I told everybody the rules of governance of the CPP are held by the 2 largest provinces. Quebec's got nothing to do with it, and I was on, thanks Gary Pilska, I was on a site in Alberta, revolutionaries in Alberta, all the separatists I know, and how misled, very misled they are by the autonomy folks, the BS of Danielle Smith and her cohorts, and goes right back to Derek Fildebrandt that, I've dealt with over the years, but the reality is I never took anything he said because it wasn't factual or correct when it came to financial analyses. I did that work, and it's pretty sad when a separatist in Alberta can get the job done more than 5 years ago and present an honest platform to Albertans and, in fact, any Canadian province, anywhere or territory can follow suit. But all that aside, folks, the damage is done, and I'm telling you, Danielle Smith is going to be dead meat. Not by me or anybody who ever followed me, but by every working class Canadian in a very short amount of time here. And they're scrambling in Ottawa. Again, the provincial Conservatives, the federal Conservatives, and the federal Liberals are scrambling. The provincial Conservative Finance Minister, who legally with BC has sane CPC, and more than that, the Conservatives have been in federal power. They know exactly the overpayment corporate slush fund I'm referring to that Canadians have been using, including all of you who are retired. The money's gone nowhere but into the hands of retired Canadians, and it's a slush fund, a sneaky little slush fund that for once just the regular old little people, Canada-wide, including Albertans, have gotten to take extra, even when the plan didn't do so well. Canadians still got the money because of this surplus overpayment by the corporations. This is major and breaking, folks, because it's not good news. This was like a top secret thing. I know when I went through it and I discovered it was right away, keep my mouth shut in 2019. I quickly changed and rolled out that we would do an APP, but we would coast everybody out of CPP because I said there was no way out. And legally, there isn't, not unless Ontario and BC grant us that. Not Justin Trudeau, not Pierre Poilievre, not anybody, but currently the sitting premiers Doug Ford and David Eby. They're the 2/3 holders and governing body of the fund. 2/3 of Canada in the absence of Quebec. So sorry, angry Albertans. But this is one file that Quebec has nothing to do with. Quebec never got into CPP. They did QPP right off the hop, literally 1 year after the CPP was established. So they never got in it. They stayed their own course. Alberta can't go back. We can never get our money out. Not a fair share, not even close. And what Danielle Smith did with her NGOs is they took into account all slush fund money. They were that dumb. And the reality is, since that money's already been paid out to all the working Canadians, where are those hundreds of billions of dollars going into trillions since 1965? Well, Canadians have spent them in their retirement right across Canada, Albertans included. Those corporations aren't going to get credited. But here's the thing. Our next door neighbor, our largest trading partner, our largest foreign investor by a large margin, the United States, they've been billed out for this overinflated CPP, including the corporate surpluses. So, Danielle Smith, you can go to court and blah, blah, blah. The problem is those folks are the ones who are going to come knocking. It's going to be those foreign investors who actually were billed the corporate over CPP payments. And those are all major clients of the United States and China. Can you imagine those two superpowers? 85% of it is owed to the United States and their corporations getting bamboozled, who couldn't really see it, not only because of American dollar, but when you analyze their 401k, you find out it's literally 3 times at maximum the size of CPP per person per capita. They wouldn't even notice CPP overpayments or even get wise to it. It would fall in line with their country and their 401k and think, well, Canada's just like us. But yet Canadians get much less in retirement. And obviously, if you look at our maximum contributions per year and corporate contributions per year, doesn't add up. That's what Danielle Smith's NGOs did on behalf of companies, thinking that they're going to save a bunch of money and get all kinds of money back. You're not. You're going to get billed. You're going to get billed, and some companies are going to get billed by the United States and China for an astronomical amount of monies that are no longer made available. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to pay them back? Well, it's going to be put on taxpayers, and it's going to come out of the CPP. They can't pay it back, which is a real major problem. This is the panic right now that have unified, guess who? Liberals and conservatives, the two reigning parties in power who've always had the federal crown entirely. They've always had provincial crowns entirely, and they've always had CPP traded back and forth entirely. They know exactly what I'm talking about. And there's no reason to keep my mouth shut. There wasn't months ago, because Danielle Smith already fucked up. And I hate to say that, but Albertans, not only are you nowhere near 334 billion, and you're going to be begging for 130 billion. It's even much less, really. It may even come to a point where we may all, retired, or those aspiring to be retired, may find ourselves in major legal battles with two of the world's biggest superpowers who can devastate us on value and supply chains. I don't think I have to minimize the United States of America. I think Canadians are smart enough to understand that. But there's also China that you cannot minimize. That is another major in our value and supply chains overseas outside of the United States of America. And if it isn't America doing it, it's China, because you won't find Russia. Financially, you'll find UK, and UK helping themselves, their companies, to our rich resources for fractions and fractions of 100,000th of our resources. That they're all good at, but you won't find them in real trade, value, and supply chains. That's the good country called America, and even not as bad China, realistically. And we're lucky we have that. We are lucky we have that. To lose that would be detrimental to Canada. And if you think somehow we can do it all on our own, ha, 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 that's a big fat joke. With our military, that's a joke. You would lose to pirates, Canadians. You would literally lose to small pirate countries. Philippines could kick our ass on trade overseas just with their piracy, just with their amphibious warfare and piracy. They would kick the Canadian Navy's butt. That's a fact. I'm sorry. This is real by the numbers. It's a very real reality that has Doug Ford's finance minister, conservative. Canadians, Albertans, you gotta wake up now. Conservative with liberal Chrystia Freeland in secret talks over all the fallout over Danielle Smith. Why would they have fallout when the provincial government of Ontario with NDP David Eby have already said no, they're not going to settle out Alberta, but Alberta's pushing it for the corporate overpayments that again were spent by all retired Albertans, all retired Canadians, and have been utilized by all those who contributed today. Somebody owes, somebody's got to pay when you highlight this slush fund that again didn't get paid out to government stooges, got paid out to all retired Canadians. Whether you believe that's fair or not, that was something, at least something, that benefited Canadians for once in this sick, sorry country. And I'm not saying the CPP runs kink-free and it's a great deal. I'm just saying that I've been paying into it for a long time, and I don't want to see it get washed away because of a slush fund that looks like it could have detrimental impact with the United States and China. And in fact, they have every right to call for those monies now that somebody's highlighted it for the entire world to see. And it won't be long until they come knocking. I told everybody this a month ago. Danielle Smith didn't stop, and they keep going, they keep going. And if I wasn't correct about the governance of the CPP, why would the Ontario Premier's Conservative finance minister be meeting with the Liberal Party of Canada's finance minister? It's because the portion of the slush fund is foreign, and it comes with foreign problems, which is privy of the federal government. It's an we're in big trouble here. What has this stupid, dumb, ignorant, hillbilly, no good bitch in Alberta done? Just when we thought it couldn't get any worse with Rachel Notley, in comes the bumbling boob floor crosser with NGOs who don't know their ass from a hole in the ground and don't know simple math. Or they do and they don't care, and they have interests on the corporate side that they thought they could weasel out of all Albertans and Canadians. Wow. You not only don't know economics, you certainly don't know finance, and you don't know international law, let alone your own domestic laws or the laws surrounding the CPP, which actually institutionally was something actually decent, somewhat decent. I'm not saying the unaccountability of government and regulators and corruption doesn't affect that CPP, but a heck of a lot less than the rate of provincial, territorial, and federal corruption of our governments. And it was just one thing, a little thing for the people, not greatly managed, but something at least we all had that we may not have for very much longer. And I mean, none of us have, meaning no payout and a massive problem coming that's going to come to a head for all Canadians. And I don't know. I just don't know how we got here. I don't know how the work I did got so perverted, and what kind of state and what kind of thought process goes through people's minds, thinking that you're going to do something that's going to teach you a lesson exactly. The people who elected you, because it will. Separatist or autonomist or 51st stater or conservative, liberal, NDP, anyone getting into this, you had to have had enough common sense when you got to that point, when you saw that overpayment and you understood that that was for the people. Why would you try to fuck with that? Like, you have to be that dumb, because you'll never get reelected again. In fact, I think Danielle Smith, like I said, is going to be dead meat. Not by me, even though it pisses me off too. I'm a working guy. But I think your average Canadian's going to want to see her dead when the fallout of all this comes to fruition. I think Albertans, autonomous separatists are going to want her dead. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of tough cookies out there that aren't. They're on the edge already. I wouldn't want to be Danielle Smith. And what's going on in Ottawa, and I mean, it's only Ottawa with Ontario's government, and anyone who's put time in Ontario, from the legislature, Queen's Park, to Ottawa, the federal capital, Parliament, it's the same garbage, right? I mean, wow. Queen's Park says it all. Parliament, they're quickly hiding all their monuments, but you've really stepped in a pile of dog shit here that ain't coming off the shoe. It's wrecked the socks, the shoes, the pants. That we're finished. I don't know where this is going to go, but it's not good. Share to everybody you can. Get this out there. It's going on right now. I published the CTV there. It's Harry Carey, and it's the Canadian people who are going to get punished. Nobody else. No business is going to get rewarded here. You had a client, you had a foreign investor in those primary sectors. I know the industry is all around. Very few Canadian companies, if any at all. And they're always contractors under a foreign client. That's generally how it's always been. And I don't know. I just can't believe we're at a point where government is so fucking stupid. And that's the only way to say it. Fucking stupid. Like, we got some real garbage governance rolling all through Canada. Left, right, down the center, far right, far left. I mean, dumb. And this CPP file just screams idiot right across the board. And now they're grouping in, and it's in Ottawa, and they know what I've been telling you for a month. And it's getting to the point where this is irrevocable damage. Danielle Smith don't care. She's a divine elite. She thinks she's helping her corporate buddies. Well, they're going to get fist fucked too. We're all getting fist fucked. But really, sadly, it's going to be the little people who rely on that CPP. Those on it, those working right now, well, at least I got to add that to my portfolio. I might not be here by the time all the fallout of this is finished, where no one got paid out, nobody got any further ahead. In fact, we got cut down hard. You can thank one woman for that. One dumbo. That's my video. Get it shared. Breaking news happening right now. Why would provincial conservatives and federal liberals be locked in secret talks right now? Read the CTV story. It's everything I've been telling you. I know.